Oh, look at that. It's episode 46, Rule of Two. We're going to go right into it. Look who's here. It's Nathan Hamill joining Rule of Two on a live. It's Monday. It's 5 p.m. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with Marc Fernandez as always. How are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm reading these comments on the chat, man. They crack me up, dude.
How are you, Nathan?
Good.
Welcome to
made
be
it
here.
just in time.
You made it just
traffic.
in time. Yeah, you had the Millennium Falcon ride from hell. Yeah.
Where were you coming in from?
Culver City, which might as well be
Tatooine.
Midwest. Yeah.
So I commute in from West Hollywood, and like the way in isn't so bad, but man, sometimes the way back.
Yeah.
It's
Especially
just
with the
like,
Hollywood Bowl and
Oh
everything
my
happening now.
It's Santana and the Doobie Brothers.
Yeah.
Tonight?
Oh, that's right.
First of all, it sounds like a great show.
That is a good show. But we're not here to talk about Santana. I mean, that's not Star Wars.
I'm done.
You want to change it? Let's change it.
The Doobie Brothers, I could talk about.
The
I can talk
rule
about
of Doob.
The rule of Doob.
Rule of
yeah.
Doob. And as you heard, and everybody listening at home on maybe on your PodcastOne feed, thank you for joining us. Nathan Hamill, as I mentioned, in studio. You're promoting your new stuff, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love this. So give tell us about it right now.
Yes.
For those that didn't see you on Collider Live, we have you here for the full Star Wars action.
My
let's
bag of
see.
goodies here. This Friday at Scum and Villainy Cantina on Hollywood Boulevard, releasing. Show this set first.
These are my favorite.
Drorgs. These are Sofubi soft
those are
vinyl,
cool.
made in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Carbonite edition.
Can I grab them?
Yeah, grab 'em. Yeah, they're very durable.
Yeah,
So-
they're durable. I love these.
And then
Got the.
this is the Starfield edition. There's
These are cool,
a
man.
little bit of glitter
I like those. Oh,
in it.
nice.
So yeah.
So
So
these
these are
they're like the Darth Vader edition because
Right,
they're
right.
like the black like Vader.
Yeah.
But these are very cool, man. What's the website again that they can go to so they can check this out?
NathanHamill.com. But
These are
or at Nathan Hamill on Twitter and Instagram.
So
It'll be updated.
do these open up? I don't want to break it or
Yeah,
anything.
you can.
You can hide your.
I almost got you.
Oh my God, we're already playing with
Fuck,
toys
I don't want to
here.
break it. I don't want to break it.
No, it's just getting it back on. It's the trick. But
But you can hide stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know.
what was that?
This would be great for my niece. Like during instead of Easter eggs, she's hunting drogs.
Nice.
These
I
are
would
really
love that.
nice, man. And like, because you're an artist, I've seen some of your work. I actually own one of your pieces, which I think is great.
Oh yeah, that's
We
right.
both do.
Yeah.
We both do. I know.
I came across those were 5 years old. It was My Father, My Lord print, about 12
It's a
by
great
25.
piece.
It was a pretty big print. I sold them 5 years ago and came across a box of. I made an extra 20 to sell at conventions and never got around to it. So
Nice.
these guys hit me up and I
Oh, yeah.
one for them.
It was excellent.
I'm
I mean,
picking-
I have mine in my office. It's not framed yet, but it's the kind of thing that deserves to be framed.
Well,
yeah.
I did it at the size that's really hard to frame, so you're
Right.
welcome. It's 12 by 25.
I'm picking mine up from the frame shop this weekend, actually,
Oh, nice.
and he did a great job because we wanted to see your signature, and so we did kind of like we framed it, but not all the way in, so it has
Right.
on a background, so you can see it, and it's gonna. I
Nice.
can't wait, man.
Cool, man.
That's gonna be very cool. So we're so happy for you to join us.
Yeah, thanks
Why
for
don't we
having me.
just get right into
do
it?
it. Let's do it.
It's episode 46 of Rule of Two. Do it. Rise.
It's ridiculous.
That's right, everyone. You heard it up top. Nathan Hamill is joining us in studio for an all-new episode of Rule of Two. Marc Fernandez is joining us as always, and we're here talking your new stuff. We framed your artwork. I thought that was really cool on Father's Day of all things to
Right.
see.
You know what's funny is my dad was holding it up. Some people thought that was me. They're like, your eyes are really clear. I'm like, well, that's
Yeah,
It's the
You have
family
your-
genes,
You
right?
have your father's eyes.
yeah.
So look, I want to dig into something. There's a little bit of a mystery happening in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Look, on this show, we just talk Star Wars, and like we don't even know what
I
we're
thought
talking.
this was a Star Trek show. No?
No.
Yeah,
No.
so
Okay, I gotta
rule
go.
of what is it? Star Trek? I don't know
Yeah.
Star Trek that well, so I can't even come up with a
so
pun.
There's something about something. I keep seeing in the chat here something about Nathan told Campia, or there's some kind of Campia thing. You know, and look, and John Campia, somebody who used to work here, I think he's a great dude. I like John Campia.
What did I tell him?
I think he's a talented guy. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Oh.
I
yeah,
have no
Nathan
idea.
Hamill told John Campia, LOL. I don't know.
There's something about Snoke or something. Is there something? No, right? This is just
No.
the fans going off.
I said nothing to no one about it.
I was just talking with Nathan.
Right.
He knows nothing about. So
About
if you
the new
guys are
one.
looking for Rise of Skywalker talk or
Yeah.
like inside scoops,
I
Jack
have the
Squad.
scoop on the new Ewok movie, but nothing on.
Oh,
That's
my
right,
God,
the new Ewok movie.
Yeah.
Return
Jinx.
Return of Sindel. Yeah. Rise of Sindel.
Rise of Sindel.
I must admit that I had a Star Wars weekend again.
Did you really? What'd
Yeah.
you do?
So on June 20th,
Okay.
year 2019, year of our Lord,
Yeah.
they released Vader Immortal VR for the Oculus Rift.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so it's a little bit higher definition, better graphics. Have you played Vader Immortal
No.
on the Quest?
No.
First of all, it's incredible. Okay, it's really, really incredible. But the one on the Rift has much better graphics, and it's like, it's not a huge step, but it is very noticeable.
Okay.
So I played it on my HTC Vive Pro using an app called Revive, right,
Okay.
which I think is all legal. So hopefully no one's pissed at me for saying that you could do that, but you can do that. All you HTC Vive owners out there, and like I was playing this game again. This is my second full playthrough.
Yeah.
And I was like, God, I just want to spend 50 hours in here.
Yeah. It's really fun. And you haven't played it yet, Nathan?
No.
You know what? Before you
It's
leave, I'm going
really
to show
cool.
it to you.
It's really
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely.
Before you leave, I'm going to show it to you.
It's all immersive. I mean, I felt like I was in the, Vader's walking right up to you, and there's great story elements in it as well.
Written by
David Goyer.
David Goyer.
How long is the experience or the?
I think
game?
mine was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's like 40, 45
Oh, wow.
minutes. Okay,
Okay.
so it's a very quick little chapter. It just kind of gets your beak wet. And at the end of it, Vader even gives you the impression that, come with me if you want to really
Come
explore.
with me if you want to live.
Yeah.
Get to the chopper.
Yeah. So, it's supposed to be like an episodic thing, so they're going to be releasing new episodes.
Okay.
That's fantastic.
But there's another part to this game that is really, really, really amazing, and it's called the Lightsabre Dojo.
Yeah, I didn't get to
Okay.
play that one, and that's the one I really want to
Yeah.
play.
So basically, it's like something like 50 levels
Wow.
of like dojo that you got to go through. And it teaches you basically like lightsaber technique, and it starts off with those little, those little training droids,
Yeah.
and then it evolves into like dudes with lightsabers, and then it evolves into dudes with pole arms, and then it evolves into like all of them, and then it evolves into even harder versions of them. And around level 20 to 25, it starts getting really, really hard.
You have to fight Donkey Kong. Or
Oh my God. It is like
the timely
You're like-
video game reference there.
I'm blown away by it.
Yeah,
I'm blown away by it.
It's really great. So Nathan, are you a big gamer? I know you're a huge, which is
I'm a Nintendo.
You're a Nintendo
nerd,
guy.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense with
yeah.
our text
That would
exchange.
Oh yeah, the Zelda, the Breath of the Wild.
Nathan
gifts.
always just ends every text with a Zelda like little GIF, and
Yeah.
I just respond with perfect.
But I start with the Goron saying, "Here it
Yeah,
comes."
here it comes, and then
So what did you play like
That was
the SNES, Star Wars?
Yeah. Those were tough. The Super Star Wars series.
Oh, I love the
but it was
Super
just-
Star
that
Wars
was,
series.
I was the right age. I think I was 6 when the NES came out, so it was like this
Okay.
perfect age for that. But played Atari before NES, but that was the one that really kind of hit home.
Was it a little trippy? Like people might think, it's trippy to have your dad be, an icon. Was it even trippier to have your dad be a character in a video game? Like to me, that would flip me out even more.
Whatever people ask is, was that weird? And I said, well, I always got to be Luke on the playground. So you're Chewie.
I think you deserve that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because everybody else had to fight for Luke.
Oh yeah. Well, I would always be Luke as well, and and I've told the story many times. When I found out my parents almost named me Luke, I went to every neighbor and went, "I'm Luke Skywalker now, all right?" And they went, "Okay, all right."
I'll
you're
start
Luke.
calling you that from now on.
Please do. I would be honored. But yeah, but you're a giant Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
So how
you
does
think
that?
I'd be sick of it, right?
I know.
But it's a testament to the enjoyability of
to everything. What's your favorite Star Wars movie? We'll start
the
there.
boring answer is probably Empire.
Yeah.
But
mine too.
Either Empire or Star Wars. Empire's going to take it, but
Yeah.
if someone makes an argument that Return of the Jedi is the best one, I will hear them out. You
Yeah,
know,
I will too.
Yeah,
It was mine for a long time.
Ellis's favorite, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ellis's favorite is Return of the Jedi.
I think to me, my favorite scene in all of Star Wars, and I've talked about it on this show, is Luke Skywalker walking into Jabba's palace.
Okay.
Because
such a great moment.
I think that's when that moment. Like, I'm a big fan of aesthetics and the philosophy and the science behind aesthetics and how long, like, aesthetics is something that takes time to build.
Sure.
You know, it's very difficult to come out of the bat with great aesthetics.
Yeah.
You have to build your aesthetics, right? You look at something like The Sopranos. Yeah, it's got a great pilot episode that establishes the foundation of the language, but it isn't until, like, season 2 where the aesthetics of the show are really taking hold.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, the aesthetics of Star Wars can all be pointed back to Luke walking into Jabba's palace. You know, like the lighting, the cloak over his head, the subtlety of like these big monsters,
The Gamorrean guards.
and like him just waving them off. Like, to me, that's the aesthetic that I love about Star Wars.
Well, but at the time, they were kind of maybe having you guess a little bit what his allegiance was, whether he'd gone too far.
Right.
And
right.
He was, yeah.
Well, because he did a Force choke, which was a Sith move. You know, we see Empire and Vader's doing the thing, and then Luke does it in Return of the Jedi, and I always loved that, though.
Right.
I
Such a
loved
great
it.
little touch.
I've heard arguments against that, though. I think it was
Yeah?
Matt Martin, who works for Lucasfilm. There was a Twitter, a discussion about that, and he's like, no, he's pushing it, but it's not a choke. It's about like four.
Because the guy is, I mean, he is doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Because
You'd have to talk to
maybe a little bit about
George or Kasdan about
Yeah.
that.
All right,
what
should
the
we-
intention was.
Here,
Do we have the
I'll
script?
text them and see
Yeah.
what they say.
but,
that was blocked.
Yeah, you know, that's why I always loved Return of the Jedi, was because that first opening scene to me is so powerful.
Yeah.
And the reason why I love the prequels so much is I think because they really go all in on that aesthetic. You know, like the first time you see Darth Maul, you know, like in Tatooine. Because I know you see him before in the holograms, and
Sure.
then like when he's talking to the Emperor, you also see him. But like when you see him in action, when he's on the desert planet in Tatooine with like the seeker droids and all that stuff, he's got the cloak on, and it's just friggin' badass, you
Yeah.
know. And like Rogue One, right? When the first trailer came out, there was a scene where you see the cloaked figure walking into the Bacta tank room.
Right.
And you only see it from the back,
Yeah.
you know, and like you have no idea that it's that old dude or whatever.
Yeah.
That to me, I was like, oh my God, like there it is. That's the aesthetic.
Yeah,
You know?
I love that. And let's touch on the prequels a little bit. So you were in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, were you really?
I was an extra. I was a Naboo civilian, but we came up with this backstory saying I was a Naboo civilian spy, and we came up with
And what was
a
your name? Yeah.
Raytool Minnow.
But you were a child, right? You were
I
like
was 17. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
Summer of 97. And I can't find myself in the movie. I know what scene it is, but I'm pixels, 13 through 26 or whatever.
Right. You
But-
see E.T. more.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
But then for Last Jedi, we were over there, and my brother and sister and I got it. You can see us in one of the
that
shots.
one I saw you. That one I
Yeah.
saw you the first time.
Yeah.
You know, that one.
Well, I didn't tell anyone, so I was getting texts from people saying, I saw you.
Yeah. That one was pretty clear.
It
That one
was
was pretty
hilarious.
We
Yeah.
made sure to get in a scene with Oscar Isaac, because then they can't cut you out.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing the press screening, and we had hung out at Comic-Con that summer before, and then
Hashtag
trash fries. Yeah, that's a big thing. That Nathan needed a place to stay at one point during Comic-Con, and I had just finished with Julie some fries, and we threw them away, and Nathan basically looked down and went, "Can I have them?"
No, I didn't ask. The next day, I
that's
had
right.
a confession.
Oh, that's right. You did the confession.
I'm like George Costanza with the eclair. It's adjacent to refuse. Yeah.
Right.
But
So
I
if
didn't
you
have to
see
tell
us on
anyone. The
Twitter-
next day, I went. I had some of your fries, your trash fries.
That became a thing.
Yeah.
So I love it. But I remember then seeing your part, and I must have texted you too, right when I got out, because
Probably,
it was just like that. And then Julie was with me. It was is that? Yeah, that
All
is.
right. I'm going to ask a slightly uncomfortable question.
Oh, you're gonna go there. Let's do it.
Yeah. Was it a second unit director that was doing your
No,
thing? Oh,
no.
Okay.
Well, there was a ghost director because my dad was behind Ryan, and Ryan's about as short as I am, so
Okay.
we could say it. But he was saying, as soon as he yells action, stand up as fast as you can, because it was the three of us standing up, and then an alien, and then Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Back to front. And and what was really cool was there was a guy who did a Crate Luke, like a bootleg figure.
Okay.
So he sent me one, and as a surprise, made one of my sister.
I think I've seen it on your
posted
social.
it. Yeah.
That's cool.
And I'm
That's
like,
so
great!
cool.
I have birthday presents for him this year. That was easy.
That's
So
cool.
even though I didn't want to break up the set as a collector, you're like, hey.
First of all, Crate Luke is that's a figure I would want. Crate Luke is a bad. I don't think I've seen that one.
It's my favorite look for old Luke.
They might have done one, not Hasbro. I still want to say Kenner.
I know, I do too.
But they might have done a Hot Toys. I think.
I don't think
maybe
because I'm a big Hot Toys guy. I don't think there is a Crate Luke of Hot Toys. There's definitely
as we know him now,
a grumpy Luke
from Force Awakens into Last Jedi.
Yeah. There's definitely like Recluse Luke. But I
Say
don't
that 10 times fast.
Yeah, reckless Luke.
But there's definitely not a Crate Luke. Crate Luke would be nice,
Yeah, so,
right? Because he'd have
just
he'd
for
have
men,
the original.
Luke.
yeah, just for a touch of gray.
Yeah, because he'd have the original hilt, right? He'd have Anakin's hilt.
Yeah, which I love because
That's when I knew
that's
something
going
was
to get
up.
Kylo.
That's when I knew something was up.
Right.
I was
The
so
second I
blown
saw
away.
Anakin's hilt, I was like, something's wrong here.
I same, but I was like, I don't know what's going on. Well, I love this part. This part.
Yeah.
It's the best part of the movie. I mean, let's just face it. This is
because you're so on it, or even into not liking.
He doesn't
Jedi?
like The Last Jedi.
You like it.
I love it.
Yeah, you're.
Look, we.
But everyone can agree. Yeah, that scene. But even people can't agree on that. People still were.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't get.
a
He
great
wasn't really
scene.
there.
It's a
like,
great
well,
scene.
He gave you something. He took it away. You still had that moment when
Yeah.
they're firing. I remember in the theater when the smoke clears. And
Yeah.
It's like, and oh man. Yeah. That's,
So I was. We went to the same premiere of Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And I remember that I was with Dennis Zen, and you and Darina were actually the first people that I ran across
right after we'd seen it.
right after we'd seen it. So we were all kind of shaking.
Getting the appetizer.
Yeah, we're getting the
hors d'oeuvres.
appetizers, and we're all a little bit confused. And I remember that you were the first person that I actually looked at and said, I think there was something wrong with that movie. Look, it's tough to see it the first time.
Right.
You need to see it again, something as big as that. And I remember the first thing I latched onto was the Force FaceTime.
Yeah.
To me, that was where I was a little bit whatever. Now I've actually kind of grown to be okay with that. But
Well, that's good. We're making progress, Mr. Fernandez.
Last
This is
Jedi.
great.
Look, Last Jedi for me is really, really strange.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that I think is gorgeous about it, but there's also so much that I think is inconsistent with the aesthetics. And when you talk about characters and what character motivations are and developments and what they've been consistently set up through over time, I think that there's a lot of inconsistencies in The Last Jedi, which can throw you for a loop because it's not about, your expectations. It's not about expectations. It's like if I'm talking to you in Spanish and then halfway I jump into German.
Yeah, that would have screwed me up.
Yeah, it would have screwed you up. I mean, I could
And then
still,
Hatiz.
And then
Yeah,
Hatiz.
and then Hatiz, and then I could be speaking correct German.
Sure.
But you might not understand it.
Right.
So we're no longer communicating in what you've set up,
Yeah.
and those are my issues with the film. Look, I have my own issues with Force Awakens too, but I'm just so damn excited about this new one that I've almost forgotten all that stuff.
we were talking about this before. I know nothing about it, which is fun because
I asked you. You must be excited.
Episode 7, I didn't know anything other than you can kind of fit based on Harrison Ford's request to be killed for have Han Solo killed
decades.
Since Empire, really, possibly. But so I saw that coming, but I didn't know for sure. I would read some of the fan sites and kind of pick through the rumors and stuff, but. And Rogue One, I knew nothing, but with Solo, I knew the general story.
Yeah, sat
in on a Skype call with the Lord and Miller when we were in England. And
Actually, I
so
just
this is
remembered
taking some notes.
You
really.
gave me
Yeah.
you did give me a Star Wars scoop once.
You did?
Yeah. It's a scoop that's been talked about many, many, many times since then by many, many, many different people. So it's not, I think, a violation or anything because it's out there in the wild now.
Okay.
And it's about how the movie opens. I think that.
Oh, right.
I gave you a spoiler. Really.
With the hand?
No.
For episode 7?
Oh, that's
not
the
the
Solo.
Hand. No, not the hand. With that the Last Jedi was originally going to open, and I've heard this from many
Force
other
Awakens,
sources.
you mean?
No, I'm talking about the Last Jedi.
With the Finn.
With Finn,
Finn,
correct.
and that was, and it's
I heard
on.
that,
it's on the Blu-ray.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. That opening is on the Blu-ray.
Where it was. I think it was the. It's his dome. He's in
the camera goes from
Bacta
there
suit or whatever
to the Bacta
and you
suit.
think it's the planet, but it reveals that it's
It's
the
him.
dome that's in there. Yeah.
I'm so glad they didn't do that. I like my Star Wars to start in space, like every time. It seems that's the Star Wars that we all know because every single movie starts in space.
That's fair, but I'll push back on that just a little bit because I think Finn. After Kylo, Finn is probably like my second favorite part of The Force Awakens.
Sure.
I thought he was so incredibly charming and like he was the hero, like especially in the first, I'd say like act and a half of the movie, Finn is really the guy who's taking you through the journey. You know, and it's really his journey.
Yeah, big part of it.
So I like the idea of starting on Finn. Like I can see why they thought about that so much.
Yeah.
He's almost like the droids from the first one. He brings you. There's BB-8, but he's the surrogate for the
interesting.
audience. So
He
he's
is.
out of place.
That's a
Ray
great way to
is
look
a
at
little
it.
more experienced.
Because how did Last Jedi really start? Right? What was the first thing you see in Last Jedi? I mean, not Last Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
The first thing you see is the planet, the moon of Endor, and then the Star Destroyer passes over, and then Shuttle Tidarian.
Yeah.
But then, like, don't you see the droids walking up to Jabba's palace?
It wipes and then it goes to them.
After-
We're introducing Vader coming in, talking about how they're behind schedule.
Right. That's
and
the first
Emperor's
thing.
coming, the Emperor's coming here.
Yeah.
That's the first scene. Always in space. Every
So
single
good.
one. It's great.
Yeah.
That's just me. So I'm gonna hate Rise of Skywalker if it starts any other place in space.
It's going to start in space, man.
Wait,
gotta
how did
start
Solo open? It had the text.
Solo opens with the text, and then it's like
A spark.
the spin-offs are
he's
different.
He's hot. Yeah.
The
It's a cool
spin-offs are
opening.
different.
Yeah.
It's
But
a
wait,
cool
but
opening.
Rogue One opened in space
in
too,
space,
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Solo. I can't remember. What do you think of Solo? Because it's
I
not
enjoyed
my
it.
favorite.
I enjoyed it because it wasn't that I had low expectations, but I thought, well, we'll see. I wasn't really sure that they should do a main character because we have, at least not at this point. They're going to be making these forever. So
Right.
I went, why now do right off the bat? But
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I think one of the things about it is I really like how many creatures are in it. 'Cause that's something I feel is lacking in the all the new ones.
Yeah.
So there's you have the new cantina, the Maz's castle,
Right.
But I want more of that. I want more
Yeah,
creatures.
And
So-
I think JJ will do that because he was one of my favorite stories is when BB-8 is rolling in the desert away, and at the end, and that little weird creature comes up.
I love that. I love that moment. The day for
or
night
the,
stuff.
The,
Yeah,
the
the day for
pelican type thing.
Yeah,
picking
it's
out,
this
like,
weird
I want,
thing with
that
this-
thing is awesome
Yeah.
too.
But when BB-8 rolls by, the guy, with his practical effects, they look to JJ and they go, "Oh, we can actually CGI that if you want." And JJ was like, "No, I want that."
Right.
That was Star Wars flavor.
Talk
that
about
I like.
aesthetics.
That's the aesthetic. Exactly.
Those are the Star Wars aesthetics that you look at it and you get that chill, like, holy crap, this is Star Wars. I love the first, I'd say, half hour, 45 minutes of The Force Awakens.
Sure.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think to me, The Force Awakens falls apart, and I've talked about it on this show, and I've gotten a lot of crap for it. But to me, The Force Awakens
well, I get a
falls
lot
apart.
of crap for liking it. So
Yeah,
it's
for me, it falls
Star
apart
Wars.
when Harrison Ford shows up. And Harrison Ford's like my favorite actor of all time.
Wow.
But to me, like, once that happens, there was a little magic.
You're not a
that
Rathtar fan.
Yeah, the Rathtar
the
scene
Rathtar
was rough, and like everything was so convenient thereafter. Like there was this really interesting, like, the introduction of Rey is friggin' gorgeous.
Yeah.
The introduction of Kylo Ren, look how old you've become. It's incredible. The Finn introduction.
the blast. The
Yeah.
force
The blast thing, it's
yeah.
like, man, those first 40 minutes of that movie are so good.
Yeah.
And then, like,
Didn't work for you.
It didn't work for me.
So, Nathan, I mean, in regards to these movies and the divisiveness that can happen online, I mean, like, where do you stand? I mean, you enjoy them, obviously, in a certain way. It must be weird, though, with, you know, your dad being who he is and everything. Are you able to fully immerse yourself and love it? Because you did get some spoilers with The Last Jedi.
Right.
So were you able to see that movie, and what did you make of the reactions?
I was surprised, and that was the thing when I came on the roundtable. I think we talked about
briefly,
but that was last fall, and I was like, it's only been 9 months since Last Jedi came out, and it feels like it's been 40 years of people fighting over this movie.
Yeah.
And I get it, but at the same time, it's like, look, there's going to be another movie. It's not going. If this movie completely ruins it for you, that's too bad. But I don't know what to do.
But like,
or
you know,
what to say.
and like, you know, we were talking about a topic for today's show, and we were talking about is it a good thing that this is the end of the Skywalker saga?
Right.
You know, and
I saw the topic driving over here. Yeah, so I had
And like,
45 minutes.
That was our pre-production Twitter.
For me, what I love about the Skywalker Saga, and it started really with Luke, is that you have this story about this like farm boy, this dude that is somehow special enough to bring down the entire empire, right? That somebody with a good idea and a little talent can do anything. I mean, basically, that's the moral of the story,
It's
right?
a hero's journey, right?
You can do, like, if you put your mind to it, you can do anything you want. You know, like, that's what life is. That's what becoming an adult is all about. Really, like, for me, Star Wars, the hero's journey, but it's also kind of like a bar mitzvah tale, right? It's like becoming a man, right? It's like this little boy that becomes a man, and he becomes a man in the grandest way possible, you know? And I feel like you get that with Luke. I think you get that with Anakin too, but in a different way, where Anakin goes the other route, right? Like
twisted, yeah.
Yeah, like Luke becomes the good guy. Anakin falls prey to his human dark side, jealousy. Right?
Yep.
Like jealousy is a strong one. Like
Attachment.
I've had girlfriends before. Like, you know, I've even been married once, right? Like jealousy is a real thing, and it's a dark, dark, dark feeling. You know,
Guilty here as well.
yeah. You know, it can consume you.
Yep, it sure
and
can.
like Anakin shows you how that can really go bad if you allow it to consume you.
Right.
But what I love about Star Wars, and I love this about Toy Story 4. Actually, have you seen Toy Story 4?
No,
it's
not yet.
brilliant.
I haven't seen
gonna spoil
3
it.
yet. I've got 2.
You haven't seen 3?
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite.
4 is brilliant, but it's also that element of the redemption, right? Which I love about
There's a character in there.
1 through 6.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still searching for what that journey is
in the new ones.
In the new ones.
Well, we talked about it for a second with this topic, and is it a good thing the end of the Skywalker?
Saga,
I mean it's got to come to an end, but really, they're going to make these movies for so long. I can't imagine that at some point in the future they don't do the grandson of Kylo or something.
Right.
Bring
Right.
it back, and it'll give it enough room so these 9 movies. These 9 movies are the main thing. This is kind of a bonus
And I kind of
addendum to it.
I buy that because I think it's going to be like Benioff and Weiss's trilogy is going to be next, and maybe Knights of the Old Republic if that I believe it was on BuzzFeed or.
So we know they're not going to. That's not the same project, or
We don't.
we don't
you know
know.
what? That's a good point. I mean, we had a report that they're writing an adaptation of the video game.
Right.
Now there wasn't
Really?
any, there wasn't any
They
mention.
hired someone.
Yeah, they hired somebody. I could find it, but we
For
haven't got.
KOTOR?
Yeah, you knew about this, right?
I mean, I knew that they were trying to develop something about it. I didn't know that it was like specifically trying to look up the whole Darth Revan thing.
Yeah.
But do
so-
you think that they're going to just do the? I've never played the game, but I
great
was talking to
story.
Christian about it. And do you think they'll just do the story straight or change some things
so
here to keep people who've played the game guessing?
The story is very endemic to the medium of video games in that you play the main character, and it's probably one of the coolest. I'm not going to tell you what the twist is because it's probably
Bruce Willis is dead.
Yeah.
it's probably literally the most famous twist in the history of video games. It's probably like the 6 ending twist. What that is for film, KOTOR is for video games.
Yeah.
The twist is phenomenal. Do you know what the twist is?
No, don't tell me.
Okay, good. So you should do a little like diving into it, even if you just like watch a YouTube video of the story.
Yeah, the story is phenomenal.
Has it been re-released? Because was it PC? I think Xbox back. It was
yes.
early 2000s,
It was Xbox.
right?
So
I
Xbox
played it on
first.
Xbox.
Has it been re-released? Like what's the
so
easiest?
You'll know better than me. Yeah.
You can get it. You can get it on iOS. You can get it on your iPad or your iPhone.
I want a controller.
Yeah. So PC. So you go to Steam and
But it's not like PS4 or.
I don't know if they have it for PS4.
Yeah,
they might.
If they're doing the script, they'll get it to you.
Yeah. I think on
Somehow.
Xbox. Do you have an Xbox?
360, not the new one.
Okay. You could probably get
The
it on
R2D2 one.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just like turning it on.
But
all right.
But anyway, it's a fascinating story, and it's a story with a lot of Big Mac. Like on this show, we talk about the Big Mac, and I always complain, Star Wars has lost the Big Mac. You walk into McDonald's, and you can always count on the Big Mac. And for me, the Big Mac is the Force. It's lightsabers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that. That to me is very, very important of why I love Star Wars. And
It's the sauce. It's all about that sauce.
Yeah, and I feel like that's been lacking a little bit,
Right.
like in the sequels. And I think George, and I want to ask you some George questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I'll get to that in a second. But in the prequels, George realized, again, aesthetics evolve over time. Languages become more complicated.
Mm-hmm.
You understand how to construct sentences better. He was like, yeah, I'm going all in on this Jedi shit because that's what this thing is about.
Well, and it's also the story that Obi-Wan teased in A New Hope. It's like, back in the
Such
day.
a tease.
It was Obi-Wan has just been such a tease. Man, come on. Don't just, stand there. Come on, get in there. But it's the golden age, where the Jedi were, and we got to see that. And that's what I do like the Force Skype call because much like the prequels.
The Skywalker.
The Skywalker.
Skywalker. I've never heard that one before.
Luke
That's a good one.
the Skywalker.
Hashtag
But
Skywalker out
you
there,
learned
team.
New things from the Jedi. Even in the prequels, they started doing things that I never thought possible with the Force. And then we start getting these.
What did they? Okay, let's go through. They had the Force sprint,
right? Which I never. Then I was like, why?
I like the Force sprint.
Why did
that was
Obi-Wan
cool.
Force sprint to the?
They're just
end
like,
of
fuck it,
Qui-Gon?
we're not fighting these guys.
Yeah.
And look, they had incredible agility, right? They could jump,
Which I bought because Luke did that out of the carbonite chamber.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's very consistent there.
Too easy.
Too easy. But what else did they do? Yeah, so it was that.
What did they add? So there's that. I mean, there's the free falling where he goes, all right, I'm going to jump onto that speeder and Coruscant.
Always on the move.
Yeah. Maybe use the Force to kind of slow it down a bit. But, Anakin was powerful. So if he wants to jump out of a moving speeder, the guy can do it.
Actually, you know what? Always on the move is Revenge of the Sith. It's not that scene. What is it that he says when
Always on the move.
Was it about Grievous?
When he jumps off, when he's with Obi-Wan and he jumps off,
In Attack of the Clones.
Obi-Wan has one of his little quips.
Yeah.
I hate it when he does that.
Yes. I think
It is that. When it is.
Oh, I hate it when he does that.
That sounded more like Ringo.
Yeah.
Right. Always on the move is in Revenge of the Sith when he's in the elevator.
You do it there, Obi-Wan. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
that one was good. Were there any more powers in the prequels that we learned of?
There's so many, man.
I know.
I mean, do you really want to look? We've done the prequel power episode. It's a
We
good
did.
episode.
We
It's
did.
probably like episode 31 or whatever.
Yeah. I can't believe we're 46
But
in,
look,
man.
there's not one saber fight in The Last Jedi. It's like sometimes
There's lightsabers used, but not saber
Not
on saber
clashing,
action.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no saber on saber action,
Yeah.
which is actually not entirely true.
What
There
did the guards have? There was a late. It was like
It's
a
something.
mace or
Yeah, it's kind of like the same technology that the guy
Grievous's goons had.
No, that Black Sun has in Solo. Like that dagger that the guy has.
Right.
Oh, Paul Bettany's character.
Yeah, Paul Bettany had
Yeah.
that little weird electrical
Now
field in the knife.
he was an alien, right? Because I think it was like his hand, he had like one long finger or some, or
Yeah.
there was something.
Well, that part was
Like
originally,
E.T.
and I'm bad on the what if scenarios and casting, but I know because of Lord Miller being ousted and Howard coming in, somebody was originally casted that, and they had to bring Paul Bettany in because of scheduling, because they had to push
right.
it. And I heard it was going to be. I know I can't remember
it?
for the life of me. If anybody remembers, in the chat. we have you here, and if you're tuning in, thank you again. We're here with Nathan Hamill and Marc Fernandez as always, and
you know what? Let's remind folks. I keep looking at these things, man. These things are friggin' cool, dude.
They are very, very cool.
Where can they find these things?
They'll be at Scum and Villainy on Friday at 8 p.m. We'll have both of these editions, very limited. So yeah, get there early if you want to grab them. And just I think a couple days ago, Corey from Science Patrol in Japan made some extra ones of these. So if you're in Japan, you have to be in LA or Japan for these sets. But he's going to be releasing those at Superfest.
So do you have a partner that you do this with, or are these completely your own designs? You work
my own design, but they're manufactured in Japan.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
And we should have some more for Comic-Con. So, and those I think will be online for people who can't make it out.
Perfect.
That's cool.
All right, so we're getting back to some of this prequel talk, and then
I have some questions.
I know you have some questions. Why don't you take it? Yeah, run with it.
Look, and I. Like in this business, we deal with a lot of folks and know a lot of things. So, I'll just ask the questions that I'm the most intrigued about. Sure. And one of those is, it's really a two-part question. Like,
I'm sorry, only one-part question.
It's. I'd love to hear about the first time that you can recall seeing George Lucas in person.
Okay. Yeah.
And just like what your sort of coolest memory, like when you think about George Lucas in your memory, like what's that one memory you have of this dude?
It was we were up at Skywalker Ranch, and he let me go to the basement where he had just aisles. It looked like a toy, a stock room at a toy store. It was just aisles and aisles. Oh my God! And
I just had a little giggle moment of a kid, like a child. I just went,
that sticks in there, and he let me pick out something. So I mean, all right, yeah, choices. But I actually ended up with two things. I got one of the chicken walkers, the AT-ST.
Oh God, what, the model, like the actual production model?
No, one of the Kenner toys, the ones that when you hit the back, the legs would.
That was one of my favorite because you press that button. Did it get an honorable? No, it didn't get an honorable mention. That was we did our favorite toys last week. Yeah. And that one.
So tell me more. Tell me more about George.
And so there was that, and then I also got a it was like a bowling bag that it was Empire Strikes Back. You had good guys on one side and bad guys on the other, and that was this little black bag that I would carry all my toys in, and I still have it. But I've never seen it online. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
It looks like a bowling ball bag.
Because we both had the Vader head. Remember the Vader head that opens up?
With all the action figures.
You put all the things in there. Yeah. So was this during the time that the first three were coming out? It
probably was
80s?
After Jedi. It's probably 84 or 85 because I have vague memories of the being on the set of because I was born when they were filming Empire. So I don't remember any of that. I have photos to remind me, but vague memories of very large trees and little bears but I mean I was probably like 2.5, 3. Right. So I think my one memory that sticks out was seeing Jabba on the big screen. That stays with you.
What was your family's relationship with George post Return of the Jedi? Because between Return of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace, there was a huge amount of time where Star Wars
was absent. You had the Ewok movies; those were at 84, 85.
Right.
And then it wasn't until 91 when the Zahn books came out. Yeah. And the Star Wars
was it
Galaxy.
91? Was it that early?
91 or 92, yeah.
Yeah.
It was either that or the top Star Wars Galaxy cards. I remember collecting those.
Because the RPG, I think, came out like in 89, the West End games.
Well, they were doing the X-Wing and TIE Fighter games. That was, I think, late 80s, I want to say.
Yeah, for the PC, they're masterpieces, both of those games, especially X-Wing, And
then we talked about the Super Star Wars games, the Super Nintendo ones.
I went nuts for those Super Star Wars games.
But Star Wars was like 100% merchandise at that point,
Yeah, and the only thing, truly, was the Zahn books that you bring up, because that, in my mind, that was canon.
The sequels. Yeah.
They were the sequels, finally, and I'll take them in book form. I remember reading them cover to cover, back to back to back.
Yeah, first of all, that's a great question. Did you read those books?
I read the first one. Okay. And I think might have gone through the graphic novels, but don't tell me how it ends.
Okay, Luke in those books is fascinating, and Luke's
because it was 6 years after Jedi. It's like when the Mandalorian takes place, right?
Yeah, it is. It's like I remember the book opening with basically Obi-Wan saying goodbye. Do you remember that? I mean, 'cause you read the first book.
No.
It was Luke having a vision. It was a dream, and Obi-Wan's basically, I'm going to the other side.
Yeah.
and I'll
I've
see you
used
later.
up all my Force Ghost minutes.
Yeah,
I can't come back.
And
I didn't load up the card anymore.
Luke is very powerful, but he's very lonely.
Yeah.
In Heir to the Empire, which is the first one.
Yeah.
And then he meets Mara Jade, and like their relationship is fascinating.
She's trying to. I mean, they fight initially, right? Or she's trying.
Yeah,
to,
she's the Emperor's hand.
Yeah.
She's trying to actually kill him, but when he first meets her, he doesn't know that she's a Jedi.
Right.
She's hiding that from him.
Yeah.
They're at this planet, and she's got to, anyway, like I don't want to spoil too much because it's actually a really fascinating story. But I was just intrigued to see, like, has there been other like manifestations of the Luke Skywalker character outside the movies that have really like
Dark
grabbed
Empire was great. That's
Yeah.
where he turned to the dark side
loves that
to.
one.
This is my favorite.
The artwork. It was Cam Kennedy, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were fantastic.
They're my favorite.
Boba Fett.
Everything.
That was the return of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett returns. Yeah.
Those were great.
It's like the world devastators.
Yeah,
The Emperor
those-
clones himself, jumps
Didn't they
into
have
the bodies.
giant probots, the probe droids? There's like a
Yes.
giant one that they were fighting in space.
Yeah,
It
something
was
like that.
crazy.
But it's a dark story, and I love it because Luke Skywalker goes to the dark side in order to. He's like, I got to learn. I got to know what my father
and
did.
Didn't they clone the Emperor?
Clone the
he was
Emperor.
he had like a flat top. He was younger.
Yeah, he was younger because I remember that great. It was a splash page where it's like Luke takes out all the clones, and then he misses one, and it's like the Emperor's rising again, but he's young. It's young Emperor, with holding a lightsaber, and they have a big duel. But, And there's Dark Empire too as well.
So the graphic novel for the Zahn trilogy is actually a good graphic novel.
Yeah.
I recommend checking it out. It's a good story. It's a really, really good story. So
you have more questions about George? I know you do.
Is there any little anecdote, you talking to George kind of looking at you and giving you a little bit of insight into like, yeah, man, this guy's a freaking...
Well, no, I mean, I think I told this on Collider Live, but we're heading to the set for Phantom Menace. I rode with him in the car I'd shot my one day on the set, but didn't get any photos. So I went, I should go back and get some photos of the costume, and I'm glad I did because there would be no record that I swear, guys, I was there. Like, yeah, right.
I would take your word for it. Knowing you, I think I would be like, yeah.
Was your pops there as well?
No. I requested to go over there, and it was the
awesome.
summer.
So they called in the favor, like, hey,
Yeah, I was super excited. So, but yeah, rode in with him, and I had my sketchbook, and I showed him a Yoda drawing I did, and he went, "Oh, pretty good." Which, like I said, is like it's a 5-star review from him, but he's very.
I know. I've met him too, and the way that I met him, I was introduced to him by the head of the Guggenheim Museum. I was working on a production of Macbeth that I was actually directing. It was actually like a really big deal in New York. And I was introduced to him as like, hey, he's this young guy. He's working on this Macbeth production. This freaking Macbeth, like sponsored by the Guggenheim. It's like, in my mind, I was like, I couldn't ask for a better intro.
Yeah.
And John Hanhart, bless his soul, like knew how into Star Wars I was and made a whole point. It was for the re-release of THX 1138.
Oh, God.
Which happened, this is maybe like 2004 or something like that. And he introduced me to George Lucas, and he's like, George, this is Marc Fernandez. He's director, Macbeth, and like, and they're using computers and all this stuff and technology. And he looks at me and he like gives me his hand, and like he doesn't even give me like a firm handshake, just like his little
kiss the ring.
Pretty much like just his fingertips, and he like shakes it, and then like, kind of turns away. And I start talking to him, and I tell him my whole spiel. You're the only truly independent filmmaker, and blah 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 blah. And George Lucas does not give a flying F about what I'm talking about. So he looks away, and then Martin Scorsese.
He's thinking about what he's going to get for dinner later.
He's like, great, another fan.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese's standing right next to him because it was all American Zoetrope.
Okay.
We're there for THX 1138. And Scorsese, God bless his soul, looks at me and sees that I'm dying. Like I'm just talking without Lucas responding at all. and he taps me on the shoulder. He's a little guy. He taps me on the shoulder. He's like, one thing I can tell you, independents don't come cheap.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
I thought Scorsese would have done oh, fuck that guy. He's weird.
No.
Walk
Scorsese
around.
was great. Scorsese knew that I was dying up there,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, when we did the Star Wars trilogy in 30 minutes, we were able to go and perform for
That's
George.
right. Yeah.
And this is my favorite George. We all have met him, which is great. But he came over, and we all, after the performance, went, he's walking up to us. And so we waited, and he just walked up and said, that was really great, guys. And there was this pause that just a needle could hit the ground. You could hear it.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what to do because that was it. My director, everybody was there, and I just went, "Hi, Mark Reilly, big fan." And and then finally everybody started talking because it was just this. That was great, guys. And that's it. And we were like, we don't know where to go. How do we do this? And then we finally started talking, and it was great. But one of my great memories, because it was at Skywalker Ranch. So I got to walk around and see the place. And that's.
Did you take a dip in Lake Ewok?
I did not take a dip in Lake Ewok, but when we were driving
that's what it's called.
That's what it's called.
So first of all, that's an awesome little insight that we can give the listeners.
What's that?
And it's like using your best memory recollection. Walk us through what it's like to be at Skywalker Ranch.
Oh, yeah. I can help a little bit.
Yeah, you probably.
I remember.
It's been a while. I remember I saw a screening of The Flintstones. So that was 94 when I was Flintstones and City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, that's funny. That wasn't that long ago, but it... yeah,
I remember the big gate, and it's like, a lot of trees and stuff, and then you pass Lake Ewok on the right.
It literally is called Lake Ewok?
Yeah, it's a man-made
Lake Ewok.
Lake, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's, and I remember there's, I want to say it's the Skywalker Sound, and then there's a building there. I can't really remember, but I do remember a walkway up, and I have the picture somewhere, to the main house.
Yeah.
Where I went and got a shirt and a pen and all
where
this
he
kind
lives
of stuff.
I
walk in, they have like Indiana Jones's whip and the hat, and I think the Falcon, the model.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I remember the theater the most. We got to hang out there.
Yeah, the theater is where
super cool. Because it's like my brother and I and like two other people watching this.
That's cool.
Yeah, we did. That's the same theater where they had the Phantom Menace, the one
that's
on
where
the documentary.
The documentary where he's pointing with the laser pointer.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we did the performance of the show. Was in the theater.
Oh, cool.
And that's the hard thing about doing live theater in a movie theater because that is built for sound to go out.
Right.
And it sucks everything in. So I remember I couldn't do a great Obi-Wan Kenobi impression because I played him and the Emperor because you would have to scream because. This thing is built for the opposite, not, inside there. So,
Does George live there to this day?
I think so.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. He would know better than me, I guess.
I forgot to ask him.
Yeah. Let's text him again. Oh, yeah.
No, we're both shy, so we kind of see each other, and I don't bother him. He doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
that's great.
So, there obviously was some news. I think it was I want to say that the outlet was comicbook.com or something like that.
Okay.
But they asked Mark Hamill, they asked him, hey, are you glad?
Oh yeah, the Child's Play premiere.
The Child's Play premiere.
It was Wednesday,
yeah. Are you glad that the thing is coming to an end?
And he basically said yeah.
He basically said yeah, like they have this thing that when you die in a Star Wars movie, you get to come back.
For the encore.
Right?
You get a curtain call.
A curtain call, that was it.
Yeah, he said, I'll get the curtain call.
Yeah.
We all knew that he's coming back as a Force ghost.
Yeah, of course.
Like a lot of these outlets took it, but...
But you thought I mean, look, let's not rewrite the past. A lot of your conjecture has been about flashbacks.
I wonder if they've done. I mean, JJ kind of introduced that. Rian Johnson, the Force Vision.
That's a new power.
That is a new power.
Yeah.
And Rian Johnson even did a flashback, like straight up.
The
Rashomon effect. Yeah. So I would love. I mean, I did a video here at Collider where I think that it might make. I think people really wanted to see the Luke Skywalker that you had in your head at the end of Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Like, what happens now? Like, what would he look like as a Jedi master?
You know what the original idea was? I think it was what Gary Kurtz was pushing for. At the end of Jedi, Luke would just
walk off like
a samurai. I
love that idea, too.
Yeah.
I mean...
look, we're all fans of Colin Trevorrow here. He's a friend of Collider's,
Okay.
you know, and we're doing some stuff with him leading into Jurassic World 3 and all that stuff, and we're big fans of his.
I'm excited for that one because I didn't see the second one in theaters, but when I heard, some things I avoid spoilers, and that one I went. When I heard that how it ends with where the dinosaurs escape, I'm like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with the third.
And I've heard a few little things about the new one that has me very excited. I love his first one. You know, I know I get shit for that on the comments.
Jurassic World.
I thought Jurassic World was awesome.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I never understood the second one. I enjoyed like half of it. Had a weird kind of twist, but then
I love that shot where they're leaving in the boat and the brachiosaur is being engulfed in flames. It was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. But there's, leading up to The Last Jedi, there was a lot of talk about how much or how close Mark Hamill and Colin Trevorrow were getting leading up to this, movie that they were going to do, the third one, and how much he loved the script that Colin had written. Is there any little nugget you can give us of that script? Nothing.
No, I don't know anything. That'll be something that one I wouldn't want to know before because then I'll compare it to what JJ's going to do. But I do want to at some point read it and
just wonder.
They'll probably when Rinsler does the making of Rise of Skywalker, there'll be script pages. Sure. Or maybe they may just want to bury it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about
that's weird. How does like Colin Trevorrow, and obviously we know the news. He's no longer a part of it. There was creative differences, they said, and
we also know that ship at Galaxy's Edge is actually from his movie.
Yeah,
that's actually not used.
The TIE Interceptor
he told us
or
that.
something.
He gave us that exclusive.
Yeah,
that the ship that's in Galaxy's Edge,
which looks like Kylo's shuttle, right?
It looks like Kylo's shuttle was actually a ship from the third movie. It's actually not in the movie anymore.
It's so weird to think that The Last Jedi is going on. Either the filming, and we've heard that Rian Johnson, the movie was coming out as he started to shoot it, so he hadn't seen. He just knew some of the story. But it gets weird for me how and where this all happens. Yeah. That we get like Rian Johnson's version, and then Colin Trevorrow is let go for creative differences, and then JJ comes back. So what is that like? Where's the communication issues there? That's what I want to know. And we've waxed
about that.
Poetic over this many years.
We're starting to get low on time.
Yep.
The fans, the listeners, the supporters, the Rule of Two Army, they are chomping at the bit to ask Nathan some questions.
Yeah, let's take some questions here from the live chat.
We'll take some questions from the live chat. All right. So there's a little bit of delay, but guys, start shooting your questions over for Nathan. Who's got a toy line coming out this week.
It's been
we went by Scum and Villainy last week and sat in for Kevin Smith and Mark.
That's right.
Yeah,
and they put it on their show.
Yeah, we talked to him before. And
Mark Bernardin.
Yeah, and what's funny is we said hi to him before, and I gave him a set, and they said, "Oh no, we'll show it on there." And they said, "Do you want to come on camera?" I went, "No, I'm camera shy.
Which I love. I love that you're
But
camera
I said,
shy.
just point to me. And then he had a gift. He was doing some unboxing of different products he got, and one of them was a Ghostbusters set from Jason Reitman sent him over.
And your favorite.
And it was like Doctor Strange, where my arm just went up, and because he said, "Did anyone go?" And I'm like, "Yes, here's a report on it." But it was fun.
So now the listeners want to be called the Big Mac Army.
The Big Mac Army. I like that.
Army.
What are you guys doing after the show? I'm hungry now.
Oh God, yeah, I know. The Big Mac. It's just the worst thing. That's why I look like this. But all right, so
I love this question. Did you see this one, Mark?
Go.
What do you think your dad's best work is in the Star Wars movies?
Oh, and that man, I might be Last Jedi.
Yeah.
One of the Jedis, Return of the Jedi or Last Jedi.
I loved it. Yeah, The Last Jedi, I think he was phenomenal. I remember J.J. Abrams saying he deserves an Oscar
Hamill's
nomination.
a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
But anyway.
It's still Empire for me. because it just,
And Cockknocker doesn't count, right?
Yeah, that's right,
not
correct.
canon.
That's not
right.
canon. But when he gets when Vader tells him, "No, I am your father," come on. Right. That his reaction is just
well. You know the
something
story behind
incredible.
that, right? That the only people who knew were Irvin Kershner, George Lucas, and then they told my dad. Mm-hmm. So even David Prowse didn't know. He said,
"No,
you don't know
Obi-Wan
killed your father." So they told my dad, so he would be reacting to the
right.
To the actual what the line was going to be.
Cool.
And they did that partially. They didn't want it to leak.
Yeah,
I mean, not partially, intentionally, and it did. There was a headline in England that said Alec Guinness to be top baddie in Star Wars 2.
Oh,
so they were right. Do not even have him. And they obviously were going to dub it because
That's amazing.
So
I didn't know that.
They were right to do that.
How cool is that?
Which would have been a good twist too.
It would have been. But it's also the same thing. It's like, Obi-Wan killed your father.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not really. I guess it's
he's not here to defend himself, Vader. That's not fair.
This is a good question for Nathan. One scene you want to see in Rise of Skywalker.
Ooh, yeah.
Creatures, more creatures.
More creatures.
I want to see more R2-D2, but I don't know.
I'm with you, man.
He's my favorite. So
yeah, R2's been
Luke's okay,
severely underutilized in the sequel trilogy, I will say, because
he slapped through the first one,
and then the second one, he's just like
that was a good scene. The
scene with Luke and R2 on the Falcon.
But I want to see him getting in, and I'd like to see him save the day or save someone, whether it's fixing the ship or
because that's my favorite. One of my favorite.
Pushing 3PO off a sailboat.
That's.
All right, this is another good question, and we get asked this all the time, so you might as well get it as well.
Sure.
What's your favorite lightsaber battle?
Oh yeah.
I thought it was going to be my favorite lightsaber, which I'll throw out there is the green one.
Yeah,
with steals ignite the green. Was his campaign.
Yeah, right.
Favorite? Oh man, probably Empire, because it feels dangerous. Like the part when he gets thrown out the window, and then Vader's like stalking him, and he comes out and he's pissed. Yeah. It's scary. It's like a monster movie where
this is why
when he's talking and you don't see him and he just comes screaming out.
I mean, it's like there's that great you talk about. There is some like horror kind of feels to it because he's walking around and then all of a sudden. And he's hacking away.
The first time he's using one hand. He's
and then he gets pissed, and the anger takes over, and the dark side.
That's why
him.
I love that scene at the end of Rogue One,
right?
Where the lightsaber ignites, and it's like, it's Jason Voorhees in space. Well, I guess they already.
Well, on that Bespin duel, real snacks attack. He says, dying to ask your opinion. Did Vader recognize Anakin's lightsaber on that duel in Cloud City? I've always just assumed and this is why I didn't like the comic, because I think they touched on that.
I don't think George knew.
Wait, you mean the adaptation of?
No, spin-off. Like they did a run, the new run of Star Wars.
Oh, right, okay.
Is that Luke actually faces Vader in between New Hope and Empire, and I never liked that.
Splinter of the Mind's Eye is out, so they have to. Yeah, I'd never thought of that. That's a good question.
I just naturally assumed because by the end of the duel, the big reveal happens. So he knows that Obi-Wan gave the lightsaber. So it's not really as much as like I don't think he gives a shit, to be honest with you. I think if Vader sees his son with his old lightsaber,
it's in good hands.
Yeah,
it's a good hand.
He's just like
not for long.
Right.
Or you can assume that he cut it off because he's pissed. That's my lightsaber.
So one of our biggest supporters, Haskell 420, is asking, and it's a good question. And it may be a slightly uncomfortable question, but I think it's a really good one. First time you understood the importance of your dad's legacy being Luke.
That's great.
There's not like a point where I went, oh, but I've. It's interesting. We were at one of the parks, I think, Disney World, and like when he'll come out, it was a surprise. They did a stunt show, I think, and then he came out and said hi.
That's great.
The moment when everyone is elated and especially because it was a surprise, but to feel all these people show this love to, my dad, it's a surreal thing. I get choked up a little bit.
It's awesome. I get choked up just thinking about that. That's awesome.
Just got me too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's a good one to end on because we are at 6:00 on the dot.
Cool.
And
We're not going to talk about Teak? Come on.
What's
Teak.
What's Teak?
Teak's
Teak from the Ewok
the
Adventure.
greatest character of the
okay.
Star Wars.
So first of all, there is one last thing I want to talk about because
Okay.
I know that you're a big
He's
fan
the Sonic
of
the
this.
Hedgehog of the
I know
series.
I know you're a big fan of this. I'm also a huge fan of this, and that's the Young Guns movies.
Yes.
Oh,
You know, I am.
Good man.
Yeah.
Pals. Hashtag pals.
I had a club in my high school. It was already high school.
Yeah.
Where we were like modeled it after the rules of Young Guns and stuff like that, and I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with like Billy the Kid and
Yeah.
like
Those movies.
Brushy Bill Roberts and like all the rumors and the stories and stuff. And I know you're a big fan, so I wanted to make sure that there's others out there. You're not alone.
Yeah. It reminds me I have to get Ellis's poster back.
Yeah, so
it's in good.
It's in good hands.
hand.
You know about this, right? He came on the Reilly Roundtable last year, and on air live, we decided, you know what? Because Ellis's poster was back in some storage.
Yeah.
So he stole it. I helped him. We took it out the back, and then he was holding it for
we didn't
ransom.
steal it. He lent it
He
without
lent
knowing.
it without knowing.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like, when I was growing up, my buddy, we would call him Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh.
Right,
You
right.
know, and like, my buddy Rudy.
Yeah.
Christian Slater, who was my babysitter. when I was young.
right.
Wait.
Yeah.
You should have
That's
told me
right.
that before.
That's right.
Christian Slater was one of my heroes. Man.
Yeah.
He was your babysitter?
He was like
How did that happen?
he was like 15. His mom was friends with my parents, and
Yeah.
he had just done. I think we talked about this in the
Yeah,
right.
we
Yeah,
did.
he'd just done his first movie, and yeah, he was 15. He was at
Which
my
is
fifth
what
birthday
it
party.
was the name of the rose?
Yeah.
Oh man, good call.
So it was
yeah.
like 85, 86, and yeah, he.
I'm a Slaterhead.
Yeah, you're a Slaterhead. Pump Up the Volume, man. It's
Yeah.
one of his
Oh,
best,
yeah.
best
That,
movies.
Heathers,
Heathers. Gleaming the Cube. Are you kidding me?
Actually, is Gleaming the Cube pre-Name of the Rose? No.
It's around that time, but no,
Yeah.
he's a big part in that. So I don't know.
Yeah. Because Name of the Rose is the one with Sean Connery, right?
Yeah.
Based on that book that you had to read in high school.
Yeah, I never read it. I saw the movie.
Anyway.
Oh, well, Nathan, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, let's have you back again.
Yeah, please. NathanHamill.com if you want to go there. And this Friday at Scum and Villainy.
8 p.m.
8 p.m. You can find him at Nathan Hamill on Twitter. You can get all the information there. Thank you very much for joining us, talking Star Wars and all your awesome work, man.
Man, and
Love
thank
it.
you for that piece again. It was a beautiful work of art.
Oh,
and I
I
look forward to getting some
cannot
more.
wait. And I showed Julie because when I saw your dad holding it up, I was like, I have it.
Yeah.
I'm very
And
excited.
look, I don't want to say what the price was because I don't even believe that was the price. It
Yeah.
was so slow. It was almost
we
like
got
a
friend
gift.
pricing.
But like, are those still available? Can people still get those?
No, you guys got the last of them. Like I said, I found a box. And ones that I was planning on bringing to a convention, and I never got around to it. So those are the last ones. But there's an item coming up soon that's related to it. So
Cool.
we'll be able to get it in some form.
Well,
That's
look,
great.
We'll be at Comic-Con. We'll see you there.
Yep.
And,
Yeah.
you know,
Comic-Con.
and then, dude, you're
Got
welcome
some trash
back.
fries.
Yeah,
Welcome back
Comic-Con is
anytime.
Trash fries are on me at Comic-Con.
Trash
this year.
Fry Con,
Yeah.
yeah.
So thank you again, everybody. It's been episode 46 of Rule of Two. Thank you for joining us. Please subscribe to the channel. It drops every Monday at 5 p.m. live here at Collider Videos and PodcastOne, Jedi Council feed. Why don't you hit that like button and share it
And
with
the
everybody.
bell.
And the
It's
bell.
all about the bell these days.
Hit the bell.
You want to help us? Like,
you want to help this grow and get more Nathan Hamill on the show?
Hit the bell, man. Ring the bell.
Ring ding-a-ling-ling. There it is.
There it
Thank
is.
you,
Thank
Cody.
you, bud.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Rule of Two. We'll see you next week.
Rise.